Hello and welcome to As E Day Happen, our daily trending
Right,
program
sorry.
on diaspora digital media. My name is Ron Palm Jr. And quite a lot of things have been going on in Nigeria lately, but key among them is the issue of Fulani Vigilante recruiting about 2,000 personnel to work with them. And they're supposed to be armed. And considering the fact that we have a lot of attacks attributed to Fulani herdsmen around the country, especially within the Middle Belt area, it has been a thing of growing concern. So, with me to discuss this issue today, I have Comrade Osage Isaac Emmanuel. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Um, good, aft- good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to viewers all over the world, wherever you're watching for. I am privileged to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And we hope to have another guest join us as soon as he's around, Dr. Aboki Nawani, the special advisor to the Nasarawa State Governor on media. As soon as he joins us, we would let you know and we'll add him into the conversation. So, Dr. Osagi, before we go on, my colleagues are there. I know there is Mazi Okoye. Hello, Mazi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rampam, and welcome viewers.
Thank you. And Alex Chigoze is also here with us. Alex,
It's great to be on the
thank you.
show. Thank you.
Great. So let's go right to the elephant in the room. With all the attacks going on in Tataramada, Nasarawa, in the Christmas time in Plateau, for 2, 3 days consecutively, two local governments were hit, and over 200 people lost their lives. All these attacks were attributed to Fulani herdsmen. Isn't it ironical that we have a vigilante Fulani establishment and already has recruited 2,000? Osage, what's your take?
When I was contacted to talk on this issue, um, my brain became so open because I wanted to be sure if, as a country, we are ready for a moment of decisive truth. Decisive truth. What do I mean by decisive truth is that it is just beyond the kinetics of security. It's beyond just knowing the problem. It's beyond just talking and analyzing. It's more about being decisive as a nation. Number one, we're going to take this in context and out of context, within logic. What is happening in the Middle Belt, not specific to Nasarawa State, not specific to um, Benue, not specific to Plateau, not specific to the Middle Belt. What's happening in that region from Abuja upward is a national shame, and I will tell you why I say is a national shame. We cannot tag transactional terrorism, transactional insecurity. We cannot tag it as a name that is not known. I will explain. For the level of what we are seeing in contest, the amount of barbaricness, killings, and mayhem happening in the Middle Belt, some of us believe that it is a community-based or a community arrangement for a selected few to arrange themselves. Remember, I said that it is a transactional insecurity. It is a
Mhm.
collect. It is a collective failure on the state security architecture because the value of life has been demarketed based on the community level. What do they need? GLK, live well, eat well. That's enough. But where we are now, we need to see this from a level of dealing with the issue on ground and looking into anyone involved and say, hey, this is the fact. Now, logic. How do you explain over 300 people riding on a motorbike? We've got the Air Force, we've got the police, we've got the civil defense, we've got the vigilantes, we've got um, some other security outlet in Nigeria. And there is no one security agency, no one, sir. 300
Hmm.
300 people, please. I don't know if you getting me. 300 people, not 100 people now. Even
Hmm.
300 moving on a motorbike. In sound engineering, that noise is enough to be declared an environmental hazard. The amount of bike that is moving at the same time, and there is nobody saw them, is a community crime. So we need to demarcate this from banditry and target what it is. It is a community-based crime that is being encouraged by the local chiefs, by the local security apparatus, by the state governors or government, and by the local DPOs, right? A community-based crime where some selected people are the one making money from this whole thing. Now, why do I say it's a community-based crime? It is not insurgency,
Okay.
sir, because the military know them, the police know them. What is happening in the middle belt? It is not a failure of intelligence. The DSS are working night and day. It's not happening in Lagos. It's a shame that the central bank is shifting a major operation up to Lagos, right? So the DSS knows them, the police knows them. But one thing
Hmm.
that has kept me baffled is the level of irresponsibility and accountability from the community on these people whom budgets, tax money is being used to pay them. Now, community wise, sir, how do people carry 300 guns, AK-47, 300, sir, without them being cited? That means there is somebody in that community that is colluding with this. No, I think they are businessmen. We should not call them terrorism anymore. We should call them terrorists. I say it's a community-based crime. How do you explain? How do you explain a scenario where over 300 AK-47, sir? Please, of my audience, 300 AK-47 and over over a truck of magazine being transported, and it was not cited by any security personnel. So this is business, and we must call it business. We should stop calling it insurgency or terrorism. Now, going back to the Mieti Allah carrying out a show of shame, recruiting 2,000 people as vigilante. That's a show of shame. That is a slap on the state's government or on the state government. By the way, when I hear the word chief security officer as one who is sounded based on security and intelligence and risk assessment, Nigeria cannot boast of having a chief security officer. Until today, till today,
Hmm.
neither the APC nor the PDP regime can boast to actually be the how you call it the GCFR or the Grand Commander of the Republic. No, none of them. No president has ever operated in that capacity in Nigeria. I'm sorry, but this is my view. I would I would
Oh,
stop
all
here. Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much, Osage. And we love to wonder, how comes we are in a country that has all the security intelligence, and while all the fingers are pointing to Fulani ethnic group as a major culprits, quote and unquote. Maybe not all of them, definitely not. We have got some of them that we know have been speaking or don't know directly against it. But then for that same group to come out and form a militia nation, what beats the imagination of most people around the Middle Belt is that not just a decoy? Because from the viral video, they are said to be armed um, legally, although it still says, well, it's going to be what the government legally allows a vigilante to hold as firearms. From my knowledge, is den guns. And if you're licensed to hold a den gun, who knows what else you can keep? Now, secondly, how many of them that have been recruited have not been part of the killings that have been going on in different parts of the Middle Belt? It's 20 years now and still counting. So, what is the difference between those in the vigilante and those doing the killing? We need some answers on those aspects. I
That's
don't know what you feel, what you think about it, Marvi, or sorry, Femi. You have anything to chip in there?
And basically, his assessment I find interesting, and it's very bothersome. And unfortunately, no matter what issue
Mm,
you're dealing with in the Nigerian society, it goes down always to the same main aspect: leadership,
mm,
non-existent leadership. When we say leadership, is no longer talking about bad leadership; it's non-existent, practically. And the people that are there supposedly are there for financial reasons.
mm,
For financial reasons, no matter what situation they find, in what position you find yourself in Nigeria, unfortunately now it's transactional. Everything is transactional at the detriment of the society and ultimately at their own detriment, because now
mm,
it's coming home. It used to be far away at some points, but as it's coming closer to them. And if
mm,
care is not taken, there's going to be, if things keep going the way it's going, there's going to be a time in the Nigerian society where people will be literally being dragged out of their cars, their expensive cars on the streets of Nigeria. If you let it go that far, it's only going to get worse, because the more harms they can accumulate, the more aggressive they will get. And the more financial resources they can get by their actions, the more difficult it will be, even for a willing society to now conform and try to deal with that insecurity aspect of everything we're dealing with. It's
mm.
actions that need to be taken. It's not a matter of now. It's so urgent. That's the most urgent thing in Nigeria right now, honestly.
So yes, Mazi, just before we got on the call, while I was having an initial discussion with Dr. Aboki on, he explained that, well, it has nothing to do with government, that it is an independent organization, just like you have vigilantes everywhere. Another source also said from Nasarawa State that it is the Fulani angle that are against the terrorism that have formed the vigilante so that they will police other Fulanis who are suspected to be causing the issue, the disturbance all over. So, but seeing the video, they were dressed in army green and so on. So, I mean, what's your take on that, Mazi?
well, like everything in Nigeria. I mean, I had the saying that Nigeria invests so much in hiding things than actually a little bit they can, they invest in actually telling a little truth. They invest all their energies in trying to hide, things. However, with regards to the this Fulani outfit, um, I don't know how vigilante. I suppose there is other vigilante groups in Nigeria which is state sponsored, like in other states where you have Amotekun, for example, where you have in the southwest, and in the southeast where you have the Ebubago, so to say, and you have other sort of local government and village sort of, security sort of vigilante art group. I don't know if that um, Meiti Allah is actually similar to this sort of vigilante group, whether they have the authority to, as an organization, not under the state, because as far as I know, Meiti Allah is simply an organization, a social cultural organization. Whether they have that sort of law to back such endeavor in terms of creating a security outfit, that in itself has to be dealt with by lawyers or by the state in which they reside. However, like everything in Nigeria, I don't know if any sort of private organization, like, for example, COPDEM, can simply, open a security apparatus, a vigilante, without government backing or without law backing. So to me, is a bit questionable, and is a bit fishy, if not suspicious, that the government will allow that to stand. You know, given the reputation of this organization, we know that this organization hasn't, they don't have good reputation when it comes to, their dealings within Nigeria. They simply, take everything by force. We know that there's a lot of serious people in the Fulani society that supports this organization. So I really don't trust this their endeavor. I believe this endeavor doesn't spell good for the common people in Nigeria, because if eventually they got the backing of law, like if the state in which they register this organization give them backing, that means that they equally, just like the same thing as state police or state military apparatus, they can even carry more sophisticated gun. Since we don't know, or we can sort of differentiate between the good Fulani who is doing this killing and the bad Fulani which they believe they have recruited into their
The
into the
question now, based on what you're saying, is there a legal framework in Nigeria that actually governs the operation of vigilante groups in Nigeria?
I believe the state government do have that backing by law to have vigilante group. However, I think they are limited to the kind of sophisticated ammunition they can carry. I believe they do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, the ammunition they can carry, but they do have that, like Amotekun and the Bubago in the east. However, I don't know if private organizations like Meiti Allah, social cultural group like Meiti Allah, can have such um, apparatus, so to say, attached to that group, that organization. I don't know if that is can be backed by law. That's what we have to look into to make sure that they're actually, you know, is backed by law. But there are other vigilante group like the Hisba in the north that is solely deals with the Quranic law. They go by Quranic law and they try to enforce that law, and they are called the Hisba group, which deals with the sort of cultural and religious issue, and those who steps out
More
of
in the
line, and the
Sharia.
Sharia, yes, all the Sharia sort of law, they enforce the Sharia law. However, I don't know if this Mate Allah also is part of that Hizbah or they're a different group. So the whole thing is a bit fishy, it's a bit suspicious. But we
Yeah,
have to wait and see what the
but
government says.
if they're creating a legal framework whereby such entities are in the society, quote unquote, and they're operating legally. Before you do such, shouldn't you have in place a framework that guides the entire process to make sure this is not harmful to the society itself that they live in? Because at what point do you deviate from what they do? Can you even relate to what they're supposed to be doing and what's going on and how it's harming the society itself, which is right now running rampant and in all directions? Or what do you guys see today?
That is a good question, Femi, because no one knows really, because we are talking about Nigeria here. Nobody knows what this organization is allowed to do or what they are not allowed to do when it comes to this outfit they have formed, whether it's got backing by law or not. So it's everything. And in Nigeria, nobody does investigative journalism anymore. So the people don't even know what is going on
What
as
is going
to,
on?
yeah, as to what is actually this organization is allowed to do or not to do.
Are there
Yeah,
any successful examples
I
of
believe.
community-based vigilante initiatives in Nigeria?
I believe so. There is community-based vigilantes, but it's linked with government, with the local government or the state
Are
government,
there
not
any
organization.
successful examples? I know there are,
Yeah,
but my question is, are there any successful examples that we can bring and say, here is a vigilante group doing good in Nigeria?
I think. What's his name? Amotekun. I believe they do try. I've seen them make arrests. Before Amotekun, I believe there is a lot of kidnappings in the west, in the western states of Nigeria, and that was the catalyst that actually brought about the Omotekun vigilante, which was formed by the I believe it's six or so states in the West, governors in the West, and since then there has been a significant reduction in kidnappings and. People can return to the farms in the West, in these Western states,
Okay.
and cows are not allowed to roam around as they used to. So I suppose that can
I
be
think we should bring
cited.
them on the platform and talk to them because I'd like to hear more of these success stories because it's
Yes,
not out there.
yes, the Amotekun. I mean, if we can find a representative, it would be good to have
It'd
an
be good to
Amotekun.
hear it because
Yeah,
you don't hear anything positive as far as vigilante groups are not that is out there
yeah,
openly.
mhm,
So I mean, what you're telling me, what you now bringing out is news to me as far as I'm concerned. To
yeah,
even know there's any positive aspect to it whatsoever.
yeah.
And
You know, in Nigeria, nobody keeps data with regards to how things are going up and down. I suppose with the formation of this sort of group, there should be data stating, how many kidnappings was done before the organization was formed, and
and
how is that number is going down. But in Nigeria, you don't have
or
that.
did you simply employ the kidnappers and now they have a job? That's why the kidnapping went down.
Perhaps, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's,
I don't know.
The second issue we have is the spate of kidnappings, and it's gone haywire. It's like every day, and there's no solution to it. And should the government depart or vacate the Federal Capital Territory to Lagos or any other place because of insecurity, who is responsible actually for providing security to Nigeria? Like Comrade Isaac said earlier, Osage, there is some form of complacency and it is a disgrace. I don't know what's your take on that, Nazi.
well, I think I don't think it would be a good idea to just relocate ministry from Abuja to any other state in Nigeria, because that in itself will be, you need a lot of laws to be changed. You need National Assembly and both chambers to approve that. However, I don't know if the way Tinubu is trying to do it, because he's moved some departments of the CBN to Lagos, and then he's planning to move FAAN to Lagos also, whereby the northern groups are up in arms with regards to this. So I don't think just swapping areas will solve that problem, because you're leaving the people in Abuja at the mercy of the kidnappers. That means that Abuja will become no man's land. The further west you go, doesn't make it easier in terms of running away from the problem. So long as we still have one Nigeria, that problem needed to be solved. And how the government go about solving it is a different issue. But the government doesn't seem to having actually have a grip on the matter, because there's it's something I saw on the X this morning, whereby I think the current chief of staff was lamenting that the former chief of staff that was killed with other 11 senior officers in a plane crash just at the end, I believe, before Buhari's tenure ended, that investigation hasn't been conducted. It's like they were
And you
swept
don't
under the
catch
rug, and that this chief of staff was insinuating that those officers, that the chief of staff that died, and those 11 senior officers that died with him, actually
and
was
you
a
don't
result of terrorism, sponsored terrorism, that they killed, sponsored by someone in the army or people at the top also in the army. So we are looking at a multiple layer of I don't know, chaos. Should I call it chaos in that country, whereby somebody as high as
okay.
chief of staff of the army and 11 senior officers died in a plane crash. There is no proper investigation, no report, nothing. So that shows you the level of complacency or incompetence that we are looking at. Because my question aims at actually understanding this problem, because it doesn't seem like we understood it. We don't know what this problem is. All we know that a lot of people has died since this problem started. We called it banditry. We called it herders and farmer clash. We called it terrorism. We called it now kidnappers. We are calling it, and now you called it business. That is a business. So which one is it? I'm just
Yeah.
as confused as many Nigerians will be.
Okay. I don't know if I have enough time to do this, but I would do it and I will say it. See, the first disservice to our society is when the chief of army staff, the chief of naval staff, forget about the president. Let's start by laying accountabilities in layers. The greatest disservice that we are dealing with as 280 or 290 million Nigerians, outside what the fake censor is saying, is that you, as a chief of army staff, naval staff, air force, civil defense, police, swear an oath, and by the virtue of your training, you've gone through the ranks of nothing less than 15, 20 years to be called, to be tagged an IG or AI. Now, it is a disservice to the nation of over 200 million people for you to close your eyes on what is happening in Nigeria, in the middle belt. A Miloko, which was the item that Tinubu used to come into power, I have my own reservation about how he came into power, but I have a citizen responsibility to ensure that he succeed because he is the pilot of the nation for the next 4 years. Now, that being said, we have two aspects to this. Now, the citizen responsibility, which any of the army staff happened to be a citizen before he was appointed or elected, no, appointed to become
a service chief. That responsibility is what we all have failed in collectively. We have failed as a nation. I will explain, sir. Why do I say we have failed? A milokon is not in the context of what we know it for. A milokon means my turn. Now, my turn in this sense of today, it is Benue Lokon, it is Nasarawa Lokon, it is Plateau Lekon. Tomorrow it is Edo Lekon. So it is a collective disaster that we are allowing to foster as a nation. Because when something is transactional, it will get to all quarters. The highest paying quarters now is Plateau, Nasarawa, and Benue. See, when it comes to Edo, Delta, and Bayelsa, that is where we will know that we have allowed this thing to stay for too long. Going back to your question, sir, the second phase of what I said, it is a disservice. It is only in Nigeria, only in Nigeria that the government and the citizen pay an incompetent chief of staff, one that is not even providing any layer of security. In election, we see over 40,000 policemen, army being deployed to a state for election, where there are no violence, no deaths, no fighting, over 40,000 soldiers. And I ask one question: is Nasarawa not enough to send these 40,000 soldiers or security personnel? This is the first disservice from the security angle, disservice to the nation. And I'm putting this on the hierarchy of the security personnel. And I'm saying this without apology. Number two, sir. It is business. Whether you call it elders farmer clashes, whether you call it whatsoever name you call it, I grow up with the Hausas, I grow up with the Muslims, I grow up with the Fulanis. For nearly 20 years, no Fulani man came to kill me in my house. Why do I say it is business? And I link this to a community-based influence, community-based business, is that beneath every ground in the middle belt, beneath, we should forget about the food basket, we should forget about the ability to produce without fertilizer. We should leave all that. That one is another aspect when it comes to feeding the nation. We should focus on the things beneath the ground. For every community where you have this attack, there are coppers, there are golds, there are all kind of mineral resources. All kind of mineral resources. Now, what happened? Go back there. Very dark man went to one of these community that this thing happened. 24 hours later, he saw raw minerals on the floor. So they are coming for a 4-5 hours operation. They are coming with their excavating machines to excavate the minerals beneath the ground. And there is no how the chiefs of this community are not involved. There is no how that you will transport 400 ammunition magazines from one place to another and no security personnel has cited it. That means the DPO of that village is involved. The checkpoints in between two villages are involved. The Okada riders who transport people from one place to another in those states are involved. Okay, so it is a business now, and we should also look at it from another perspective. How do you leave a DPO, a local police station in charge for 3, 4, 5 years in those areas? Survey have it. I'm saying this authoritatively. Survey have it that it is 5 hours before the operation. You will see military personnel in those areas. Once they are gone, they'll start the operations. When they are done, then police will not come or army will not come. There is something wrong with us collectively if we see this as a national joke. Here are few powerful people killing people, stealing the resources beneath the ground, and they call it insurgency. There is nothing like insurgency in Nigeria. It is a private business, and we must target private business that is being sponsored either on two faces, that this attack is being carried out by locals within the community, trained by external machineries, or it is a transported effort, which either of the two can be intercepted if the Nigerian government is serious about any of this business. Okay, so there is nothing like insurgency in Nigeria. Mm-mm. There is nothing like that. For me, from where I'm sitting down, there is nothing about there is no insurgency in Nigeria. It is private business. Bonkri was private business. The militancy in Bayelsa Delta was private business until Iyaradua or Goodluck do something about them. What's happening in the Middle Belt? It is a business that can be checkmated in 5 hours if the commissioners are serious, if the DPOs are serious, if the army are serious. And I say this categorically without apology. The DSS knows them. The DSS have all the intelligence that it takes. It is either somebody is ignoring the warning from the DSS or something is wrong with us. That is just what it is, sir. Because how do you drive 400 bikes? 400 bikes. 400 bikes. Please, we should do a 1 minute science here. 400 motorbikes. Can you imagine the amount of the noise? That means what we're dealing with is within the community. It's community based. It has community involvement and can be can be killed at the level of the community. And if you take deep look into it, you find that people in the community are the ones carrying this crime against their people. Thank you.
And brother
Um,
Femi, do you have any questions for Asage?
yeah, it's while he was gone, basically he answered most of the things that I was talking about while he lost connectivity, which the Nigerian problem is a mindset of criminality. So, like he's just mentioned, there's financial gain, and that is the problem of our society. Anything you're dealing with, when you look back to it, whatever is created, once people figure out a way to make profit out of it, it turns into the situations we're dealing with. In Nigeria, you and I know, even you yourself traveling alone, how many checkpoints will you go to no matter where you are going? Not to talk of 400 motorbikes moving around in a nation. And the solution is not to now take everything from one part of the country and put it to another part of the country to try and get away from the problem, because the problem follows you everywhere. We have to deal with the problems of criminality in this country. The problem we are talking about on this level is the same problem that gave us the person we call the president today. And everything we're dealing with in this society, until we want to deal with it by rule of law, holding people accountable, and we will keep having these problems and many more. That's all my input on that. It's a
Thank
sad,
you.
sad situation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Rampan is back.
Let me respond to just
Go on, Asage.
Okay, am I allowed to say something about what he said?
Yeah, yeah, go on.
Now? He said three things. He said three things that I took notice of. Now, while he was talking, three things came to my thought. Number one, number one, what we have now in the middle belt can be effectively controlled through the Ministry of Mineral Resource in Nigeria. At the time in Ghana, when there were so many disputes regarding cocoa, where a man could go to another man's farm, harvest his goods, sell it off, go and steal from another man's farm. The ministry then in Ghana did something. They introduced Cocoa Bank. Now, what did that do for Ghana? Is that I, as a cocoa farmer, you as a cocoa farmer, you are allowed to farm even 5,000 hectares of cocoa, but the government buys the proceed. Sorry, the produce of the cocoa, the government buys it, which means that this very cocoa is not allowed to go out. Nobody can buy cocoa outside the government approved stores. So the government buy it and resell it out to whoever that needs cocoa for anything. The Ministry of Mineral Resource in Nigeria, for the past 50 years, has happened to be one of the most useless ministry that Nigeria has ever produced. I'll be See, it will be disservice if we come here and try to paint it or try to manage the words. People are dying. People are dying. So it's a serious matter. The Ministry of Mineral Resource is one of the reasons why Nigeria is struggling financially. Number one, NGOs who come into Ghana to come into Ghana to do agro or cocoa farming, use the money to sponsor scholarship, sells their cocoa to the government. The government buys the cocoa. The government of Ghana buys the cocoa, right? We have so many foreign NGOs in this Nasarawa, in this Plateau, Benue houses that are the financiers of this very crime against our people. The Ministry of Mineral Resource should, as a matter of fact, start resource declassification. Oil and gas and gold don't touch. Every other mineral, harvest what you have in your land and sell it to the government store within the state or your local government. This crime will end. We need to make this business look attractive to everybody within the middle belt. If you have copper beneath your earth, harvest it and bring it to the federal government store, they'll buy it. So we need to look at resource control from the perspective of effectiveness, not what we have now as resource control that favors just the selected few. Why this business of terrorism has thrived for too long? That's number one. Number two, the Ministry of Mineral Resource needs to open in Benue and all of those states, affiliate states, office of mineral purchase or public purchase, where people will bring the harvest, and there should be a law. Whosoever that is being caught with transporting this out of Nigeria or out of this region will be persecuted. Now, the resources in those houses or in those locality is what people are using to claim they have gold reserved. How many gold does France have? And what is France gold reserve? How many gold does Spain have? What is Spain gold reserve? I'm not saying they are sponsoring it, but I'm just asking questions. Just like I'm asking questions just to get answers. So it is time we market this business of minerals beneath the ground and target what it is. Take your CO from the government apply for your permits from the Ministry of Mineral Resource, harvest what you have beneath your ground, and sell it to the state government or the Ministry of Mineral Resource, by the way, which has happened to be one of the useless ministry in Nigeria. In my opinion, that ministry needs a complete revamp, a complete reshuffling, because for 50 years, I can't see one thing that is making Nigeria pay them, both the minister or whoever is there, pay them salary. Because these resources that should make people in Benue, that should make people in Plateau, foreigners and foreign NGOs are the one investing it. And those people are dying. Now, why is it also number three? Why has this thrive? Is because if I go to farm as a farmer in Benue, all I get at the end of the month is 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 at worst, 2 million for selling my yam, for selling my this. And someone comes to offer you 5 million every month to become this criminal businessman informant, to help them store their ammunition, to help them carry out this barbaricness. That farmer will accept 5 million every month. By the way, some of the minerals we have in Nigeria, a gram is between $10,000 to $32,000 per gram. I'm telling you, sir,
Yeah.
between 10,000 to $32,000 per gram. So do you know how much Nigeria is losing as a country? Battery manufacturers all over the world are enjoying from these resources coming from the Benue, and the Benue man and the Plateau man, the Nasarawa man is dying in abject poverty. So the Ministry of Mineral Resource need to look inward and say no, we should take advantage, declassify this thing called federal mineral control or something, and say okay, anything in your ground outside petrol and outside oil and gas, gold, harvest it and we'll buy it from you. You'll see that this thing will die in 24 hours, because now it is now a collective business, not for one person. My brother Alero talk about community, to talk about crime mindset. The government are the ones that have allowed this thing to thrive. They market their supply. Okay, let's talk about this, sir. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this now. See, sir.
Yeah.
Can we ignore this also propaganda that the government is using to escape responsibility of infrastructure development? What have you? Healthcare. This is also a propaganda. So the government for 25 years to 30 years have used this thing called insurgency as an escape for not providing hospital in Nasarawa state. And when I mean hospital, 40 billion that a woman mistakenly transferred into a private account, made for the humanitarian ministry. 40 billion mistakenly transferred. Nigeria is a joke. 40 billion that was transferred mistakenly. That 40 billion can build conveniently, can build around 10 world class schools in Nigeria. No, in the middle belt, leave Nigeria, in the middle belt. Can build conveniently, 40 billion naira can build conveniently a center for cancer research and control, specialist hospital for mother and child, special diabetes clinic, or what's called special education, because those people need enhanced learning apparatus to be able to learn. This money can build 10 world class school, can build 15 10 world class hospitals, can change the fortune of Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, Kaduna youths, if that money is being spent on youth development and acquisition. That money can produce can produce around 50 million millionaires in Nigeria. 50 million techs, 50 million techs, 50 million startup. So it is how we see this as, oh, it is a Benue thing. It is a national thing. And it is painful that till today, some of us have not yet decoded that this crime mindset is being empowered based on the repeatedly. Alero said something about bringing the current government into power at the presidency level, because these people know that there are no consequences, right? That's why he's been striving. I asked one question, sirs. He said something about the rule of law. How many? I'm asking the chief judge of the federal high court or the state high court. I'm asking the judges, the justices of the court in Kaduna, in Nasarawa, in Plateau, in Benue. How many of the claimed bandits has been convicted? How many has been arrested? If they have been arrested, can we see them? How many? Mr. Chief Judge in Nasarawa State, please, can you give us the number of the people convicted for even killing somebody during election day? Talking about Alero's mindset, criminal mindset, what I spoke about. So this is what I said. It is a collective. It is a collective community business that must be treated as such. So this thing can be addressed in 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, if Nigerians start asking the right questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Rangpang is back, and I think we've been urged to round up as well. Our time is fast spent. Rangpang, do you want to round us up?
Real quick before we round up, I just want to make a quick comment. Thank you for coming, and I hope we're going to be able to have you some other time, because there's so much we're leaving on the table. And before we start working, because you brought so many options and issues, but we need to learn to crawl before we walk, and we need to find out a way to just turn off the tap. Because as long as the funds are running into some pockets, then we will keep going through this cycle. Mr. Rampan, it's on you, and I hope we'll be able to do this discussion some other time.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okoye, and thank you much, Femi, and thanks to Comrade Osage, Emmanuel, Isaac. Your contributions have been most wonderful. This is the Middle Belt, a land of the greens, and it will be a good thing to have peace as it happens, as they can to delve into these issues, so that those in authority would hear, not only hear, take action, but not only it can be seen to have taken action. On behalf of the entire crew, Mario Koye, Femi, and Emmanuel Isaac Osaikie. My name is Rangpam Jr. So you can keep a date with DDM. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. You can visit us at diasporadigitalmedia.com just for inquiries. Do have a pleasant time, and catch you tomorrow when we bring another intriguing issue facing Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless.